Alright, welcome back guys to a new video. It's been a while since we've done one of these. Well, it's been quite some time. But we got some stuff. This is going to be a deep dive and something that I've mentioned here several times over the past, I would say almost 3 years. I mentioned it probably since 2019, and you probably know what this is about. Yeah, for those that are new here and they subscribe to me after 2019 and you missed all of this, that weren't able to see like any of these stories, hear any of this stuff happen when I updated you guys on it in some of the streams that summer. When I was my last summer in high school, I mentioned was probably one of the darkest summers. It was a little bit better in 2017, but it was still struggling. But what I'm going to talk about in this video, and there were more reasons why it struggled, but this is the main reason. And I'm going to tell you all about it. So if you don't like it, I recommend you not watch the videos. And I'm going to warn you right now before we get into this, there's going to be some strong language in here. So I would recommend if you're a little bit young, I wouldn't really recommend watching this. If you can't handle it, don't watch it. But if you can handle it and you don't really care, you can handle anything, you're tough and you can handle anything, then go right ahead. I'm not your parent. You can do whatever you want. I don't care what you do. Hey, you come in here to listen to me talk about whatever because I want to get back to this because it's been a very long time. So, all right. So, we're going to start off. There's going to be a lot of dates in this video, so just be warned. So, I have them all documented. So, I think it was in March. No, we're going to start off in January of 2019. All right. There was a company that's local to the major city that I'm in called SummerWorks. Yeah. These are the people that kind of are responsible for all this. And they do like summer jobs for like all the schools in the area. Whether it's private or public, whatever it is. Some people don't really use it, but it was through these people right here that started it. And we're going to get into how this whole process began and how just a nightmare it was. An absolute just train wreck. So, basically, we get into February, nothing. We don't hear anything. March, like the beginning of March, is when we really start to hear stuff about it. And, okay, but there was another one that didn't happen. But that'll happen if this didn't happen. But this is the one I think that, well, it probably would have been better anyways. It probably would have been a lot worse. Maybe, I don't know. We would have seen, but especially that's where the company that would have interned at was where that drug offering teacher went at the end of my senior year. So kind of weird how that all unfolds. But I think that when this happened, there was a lot of problems that came about this. And I know that back then, in 2019, and you got to realize I was a junior in high school, so this was a way, 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 way different time in my life. This was like long before this round. This was like 4 routes ago during the first Ohio unit. And that's basically the time frame that this all happened in the first Ohio unit. Great way to start it off. So, Now we're going to fast forward to March 22nd. All right. I don't know if this was supposed to be a phone interview. It might have been. But this was the first red flag because it said there was supposed to be a human, but when I went up to my dad's office to pick up the phone, it immediately, as soon as that human was about to pick up, it went to an automated recording. There was a human being that pushed that button and went to an automatic recording. I knew it because I heard someone say something, and then it went to automated recording. It went immediately, and this is after school. This is like after I got out, after we got home. A little bit after we got home. So, pretty uneventful. Okay, that was red flag number one. Now, the next week was the real interview. So, I get there after school, 4 p.m., go in there, and it was an interview, but this is my first one, so I was new to this stuff, and I think it was not just like it was like me, a couple other people, and some of them were older than me. Some of these guys were a little bit older than I was, and so it was kind of there were some red flags that, they showed us a video, and that was another one because it looked a little bit culty. It looked a little bit like a cult, and that was another one. That's two, because I think it's like after 3 that you got to hang it up. I was like, okay. But there was no 3 red flags after that. Like, that wasn't even a red flag. What ended up happening is what we're going to get into. It was in the food and beverage area. This is why all this crap. Hey, like, now you get into the interesting part. And now you're going to wonder why this summer. Well, about not too long before I made it, I think it was probably about 3 days before I made the video, before I made the live stream, why I'm not going to my senior prom. This is the first time. This is before the pandemic came in. The pandemic was not around at this time. This was April of 2019. And because I have it documented on my other monitor here. And basically, according to this, it's saying that so I had training on May 12th, which was Mother's Day, which I found a little bit weird. That was kind of a red flag, but not really. But I was like, what other day were they going to do it on? It's kind of a weird day to do it. I was like, whatever. Like, after a while, I was like, But that was kind of like, when they didn't respond, that was a big red flag. But then they did not let us know until a couple days before. And, I was like, but I'll tell you something. Now we get to the day and there was going to be, I think there was going to be a video about this back then, but I was like, okay, if that would have happened, I probably would have not have been there. It would have been said and done right then and there, because I don't know if they would have known that it was me that did it. Probably would have been hard to tell, but that's kind of how it is. Normally I don't mention this stuff because if it was, this channel was pretty small at that time, so the odds of them knowing would have been very, very small unless some idiot decided to call them. Which, that happened, I would have been happy to get out of there, and I would just make a live stream and say, hey, get a health code violation, and boom, there you go. It's kind of a spoiler alert to the end. But, so, I go in there on the training day, and the atmosphere was not what I expected it to be. It was so negative. I was looked down upon. by like 3 people. There was a manager that went, he just was like, why is he here? That didn't even know I was there for it. It was just a train wreck. Oh man. It was just a big mess. A complete big mess. And this was an absolute, this was a mess. It was kind of ruined, and it was, because it said 9 to 5, but it was actually like 9 to like, what, 2 something? I'm like, wait a minute. It literally said 5 p.m., and I remember sitting there like, dang, this was a mistake. Can I just bail out of here? Make a run for it? I could probably do that. I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. I can get out of this. Get out of this place before I even had a chance. Maybe that would have saved him. Meh. But this is where the ranting is going to start happening. This is where we get into the ranting. This is going to take a while to explain. So, oh boy, here we go. Here's where the fun begins. This was not the fun part. The day after the last day that the grade above me was done with high school, well, they were not graduated yet. The last day, the 17th of May, which was a Friday that year. So I go in the first day. Red flag number 3. You probably remember me talking about this in a probably about 3 years ago, a little bit after one of the streams that talked about this, the locker situation. Jesus frickin' Christ. Was this this had to be one of the worst ran locker systems I have ever used. It was awful. It was that bad. Because, do you want to know how long it took me to deal with that? Do you want to know how long it took me to do that? Do you have any guesses? You're right, it took me 35 minutes. It was somewhere around that. It was very close to like 35 minutes. So, I ended up going into that spot in that part of the amusement park at like almost 11:15 a.m. I was supposed to be there at 10. Well, I don't know. Like, what do you think I'm supposed to? I'm new at this, so it's like this is why there needs to be a lot of changes to make going. This is why people don't want to. They have to deal with this crap. This shouldn't have to be pain in the butt. You got a lot of new people coming in. Don't do that. Why is it that the human species doesn't know that? I don't know why, but there needs to be some changes. And hopefully it comes soon, because we need to hold these companies accountable. And the ranting is not done. So, literally that day was just a train wreck. I was criticized for just moving too slow, which I kind of like being sluggish. I really do. Especially if I'm gonna be looked at like that, like that. What in the world? Like that. The only person you're damaging is yourself. You're not damaging. You're basically damaging yourself. I mean, you're not helping me, and you're not helping yourself. So that was, I think it was like red flag number 4, but even though that was red flag number 3, that was after I had already done it. It was already done. So that was red flag number 4. Now we get to red flag number 5. All right. I'm going to tell you a little funny story. That's something that I did. Earlier in that day, I made, right, because they literally trusted someone that gave them a health code violation, another spoiler alert, to make chicken and fries. I'm pretty sure you could have picked a better person to do that. Yeah, you could pick a better person to do that because you know that was not going to work so well. Oh man, you knew that was not going to work very well because all it would have taken is something to happen. And yeah, whatever. And yeah, because this was 2019, and what an interesting year it was. I mean, this is kind of why this year is considered a cursed year, and kind of continued into 2020 and maybe even 2020, early 2021. I mean, 2020 kind of continued as well because it was another graduating year for me, and maybe that just continued because of the ring ceremony incident. Maybe that one. I think that was because it just continued on with that. It just enhanced it. So now, after my 11th grade year has ended, now it's time to get into my final summer before being done with high school. The final one, 2019. The summer of a round trip vacation in the Midwest and a summer of giving a company a health code violation. We're going to get into that here in a little bit. Now here's red flag number 5, 6, and 7. We're going to get into this. This is where everything really heats up. So now it's June 1st. Well, what's so wrong about June 1st? Well, I'll tell you what happened on June 1st. There was like a really, really dickweed food and beverage manager. Yeah. He was a clown. Not one of those, no. The clown I'm talking about are the people that has zero social skills and likes to try to fight people. That's what this guy did. And I'm not going to use the word that he called me. He called me a disability slur, and I'm going to do... I can tell you exactly what he said because I had it documented almost 3 years ago. Because I know what he said to me. He said, I can't believe we hired him here. Why don't we get this blank fired? Yeah, that's almost exactly what he said. The blank, I didn't mention that for a while. Then when I saw it, I'm like, oh no. Oh no, this is bad. This is really bad. Like, oh no, this is not good. This is not good at all. And I remember telling him this because my parents went to Bravo that night. And I will never forget what I told this guy. And I remember telling him, then why don't you fire me? Because I'd much rather be at Bravo eating Italian food than ever work here again. And I'd much rather be on a beach drinking a coconut if I could and not have to deal with you ever again. I mean, the look on his face was almost like seeing his wife cheat on him. That's what it looked like. It looked like his wife, what his face would look like if his wife cheated on him. And you can probably figure out who this guy is. You can figure out who he is. Because he was a clown. He was almost like the bonehead drug dealer drug offerer that tried to offer me Adderall and fentanyl my senior year, which I immediately shut down because that was such an unprofessional thing. Go check out my story about that. Shameless plug. I'll probably do a part 2 to that video. A part 2 to it, maybe one day, but you know. Back to what I was talking about. This guy was the biggest scumhead you will ever meet in your life. If you've been to a job and you've had to deal with a scumhead, this guy made your guys look good. Because this guy was like the epitome, he looked like the Grant. He had the ego of someone that definitely did something. I'm not going to say what it is due to YouTube reasons, because I would recommend, if you're a certain age group, then, you know, I wouldn't really recommend you watching it, but you can do whatever you want. I'm not your parent. Do whatever you want. Who cares? And if you want to change your age thing, that's fine with me. I don't care. So you can still see him. He would have to say, so when you get your first job in high school, hopefully this will be a scarlet letter for you. That I went through this. I just want to give you a fair warning that don't work at this place because it was so awful. And at the end, we're gonna blast this place. So we're gonna put this place on blast because this place deserves it. Because if you really want to do it, then more power to you. But I'm talking about the new people who have never done, that are doing it for the first time and really look and have like a red flag system like I do. I would highly recommend, if you want to have a good summer, don't do this, because you're going to hear a lot more things that I have not really told you guys about in depth. So, literally not the next day, but a week later, on the 9th, so it was a Sunday, so I was supposed to go on a Sunday from like 2, I think it was like 2 to 7 or something like that. It was somewhere, I think it might have been like, it was somewhere around there. I don't know what time it was supposed to be. Probably it was later. It was a later shift. And I remember going in there and someone saying, this was red flag number 6. That incident was number 5. This is number 6. This is where it really was screwed up. Which I didn't care about it anyways. I didn't care. Whatever. If I don't have to be here, I don't have to be here. So, basically, I think that, basically, this day, I wasn't supposed, this one girl said, you're not supposed to, and how do you know I wasn't supposed to be here? I don't know how you knew I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm like, I guess I can leave. I'm like, all right. So I went back and said, hey, called my dad, said, hey, you gotta come pick me up. Like, what? I wasn't supposed to be here, so as we went shopping while still having that stupid shirt on. I still had that shirt on, and I almost wanted to take it off and walk in that sporting goods store with no shirt. But I think you realize no shirt, no shoes, no service. I think it should be no shirt, no shoes, no underwear, no socks. Especially no insane shirts. And if you wear a very boring shirt that literally says the boring shirt on it, then I don't know how you're getting service, because you're pretty much a genius at that, at manipulating it. Because if you wear 3 shirts on at once, then you're even more of a genius. So, yeah. But this is where it all came to an end. After, I would say, 5 months of this whole scheme. And this is why I went back to the Science Center and for my internship. This is the exact reason why. So, this was June 19th, 2019. Just 3 days after Father's Day. Oh, brother. My goodness. And it was I would say overcast day. Going in, I thought there was going to be, I thought it was going to be kind of a day. It kind of was. I mean, it was kind of a dead kind of day. And I remember going in, and they would always said, it happened again. Like, I'm not being on schedule. Like, you know what? I would have said, I'm actually, I was, what do we say there after that? And literally, I just stood there, awkwardly. And I'm like, what do we ate lunch there? Because I actually went in, so they had to, if they didn't, they'd be sued. So they could definitely face a lawsuit. They definitely could. But they could definitely face a lawsuit because I think that's against the worker or something like that. I think that can definitely get you a lawsuit. That can get you a bad lawsuit immediately. And then it was around, and I'm at probably about maybe 2:20 to 2:30 p.m. The girl that I was in the burger area with, which was like right next to the thing, would have said, you can leave. You're not supposed to be here. I said, and I remember thinking this. I said, yes, I'm free. Now, what do we just said? Thank you. And then I walked out, and that was, and this is what made me realize that it was over. But I had already stepped down. I had already confirmed this is it. It's over. And I had confirmation of that. And I remember saying, oh boy, what is it? Santa Claus. I remember saying, what is it? Santa Claus? Santa Claus coming in June? Oh yeah. It was Santa Claus, all right. It was probably one of the most payback things I have done to them. I'll give you a little bit of a backstory to this. 2 weeks earlier, when I told you about the when he called me that word, literally a little bit later that day, there was a work on the same one that girl told me about, said that I could leave. Yeah, there was another person that cooked. I think you're supposed to cook burgers at 140 degrees or something like that. I don't know what the temperature was. And they cooked it at 140, and I think that caused a major health code violation. That was number one. This was my turn because I'll tell you why I think it happened. But it was already over. It didn't really matter to me. Fire me, whatever. And I remember telling him, you called me this, and I actually said the word that he called me, and then we said, you know what? He said, that's a major health code violation. And I said, you know what? Go right ahead, fire me, I don't care. I really said, whatever. I don't care, whatever. I remember him saying, thanks for everything. I remember after, I'm like, looking at this one guy, it's like, I remember like, no. I'm like, nah. Then I literally just said, have a good day. And I literally sat down on that bench and made the call and told my dad, guess what? I'm no longer at this place. It's over. The end has come. After 5 months of this whole process, the end of the horrible amusement park terror of 2019 is what I'm going to call it, the horrible amusement park terror of 2019, was over. I could finally go home, but I had to realize the long-term damages were huge. These were some of the darkest times since my most lowest moment in 2016 and 17. Literally going on in just about, I would say, a little over a month, I would be turning 18 years old, going into my final year of high school. So, if you want to know why, basically I was like trying to move my pants around, and they thought I was doing, which I was like, I was kind of trying to get out of there anyway, so I had a reason not to go back there again, because I felt it didn't feel a good spot. Didn't feel like that's where I belonged. Didn't really fit in. Not the place for me, and I was trying to get out of there early. I wish I would have gotten out of there earlier. Maybe I would have gotten them a health code violation earlier. But this is 2 years. This was almost 3 years ago when this happened. And I made 2 videos of them trying to get me to come back. Well, I'll give you a message right now, because if I ever came back today, you would be getting another health code violation, and it would be basically a consecutive one from the very first time. So yeah, you've been warned that I recommend, if you're hiring, do not hire me, because I'm going to tell you, because I don't want to come back there, and I have no plans on it anytime soon until I turn 159 years old, and I'll probably already be dead at that time. So I'll be long dead at that time. I'll be long gone at that time. So if you get offended by it, well, I got some news for you. Go jump in a lake. If you're that person that's going to type in the comments, well, you do, no. I think people, I like that people take pride in what they do, but I don't want to see the people that are way too happy about being in a spot that really is like, you can be happy about it, but you shouldn't just be, you can, but you shouldn't be, it shouldn't really be an accepted thing, because customers and other employees kind of have to deal with you. All right, don't be one of those people that just like enjoy their job too much, because they get bought into like they try to get them to do that. Well, you try doing that with me, it ain't gonna work. It didn't work the last time, and it's not going to work in 2023. It ain't going to work in 2023, so, or ever. Well, it's not going to work ever. Years and years down the road, wherever I'm going, I mean, I already know where I'm going. I'm going into highway engineering, whenever that happens. Hopefully it's 2022, 2023, 2024. Hopefully it's just get it done. It could just be something, well, hopefully it's just, we can get it done and just, boom, there you go. Because this stuff is very similar to it, but I think we need something more in depth that I can use better. And then the 3D models we make in that, I can try to put them in Trains 2022 and see if I can hire someone to turn those roads, or make them on like the ramps and the swines, because these things make some big paychecks. So, I mean, by the time I left this place, people had already gotten fired. But I think that this place was a very naughty place. There was a lot of things that should not have happened. It should have been dealt with a lot different, but it was my first thing. What could I have done? Because the previous year could have been a lot worse, because that could have been what this video could have been about. But it probably would have been, I would have said instead of last, it could have been this year or last year when I would have made it, but I think it still happened. I am going to say the name of that place, because they kind of deserve it, because they're not special. On an employee's stand, I thought it was supposed to have a place to have. No, it was a nightmare. It was a complete crap show. If you ever want everyone, when I went into that orientation, looked like a zombie from The Walking Dead. And it's like, did I just walk into a zombie movie? Did I just walk into this place? Okay, I guess I did. I'm not trying to, because I was kind of like the most fly on the wall person as possible. I wasn't trying to get involved in any of the bull crap. I wasn't trying to get involved in any of it, which we all know how people love to try to stir up stuff, and I'm not going to take that very lightly. You're going to regret that immediately if you try, so, well, you're not going to like what's going to happen. You're just going to get eviscerated, so, you know what eviscerated means. Just getting the, you're not going to want to hear what you're going to be told. You're going to be insulted, and everyone's going to start laughing at you. And usually these are the people that just don't have any common sense, but, that's just how it is. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you a lot for watching. If you want to go check out my drug offering teaser video, I might leave that as an annotations at the end of this video. So, I'll probably I might put that in the end card. Probably put that video in the end card. So, yeah, so watching this video, and hopefully we can get the streams going back soon. Thanks everybody, and have a good day. See ya.